Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. Mike Veach to my left. I'm Mark Asano. Our thanks once again to John Sheriffs for having joined us. Okay, our next guest is enjoying overnight success after 27 years of very hard work. He is America's jockey.
It's just, what he's done in these two races is Michael Jordan in the finals. I mean, he's not unstoppable. So,
America loves Calvin. Jay Leno loved Calvin. He charmed the Queen of England. Yeah. Here's a man who's engaged to be married to Lisa Funk, but he's in love with another female. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Calvin Borel. Calvin, welcome back to Down the Stretch, and all congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate it.
Calvin, did we see Rachel Alexandra at her best in last Saturday's Preakness?
No, sir. You didn't see her at her best. I mean, she was at her best going in, sir, but she was struggling a lot on the racetrack. I think the track guy thought it was supposed to rain. They announced for a lot of rain, and it got black and everything. I thought they would, have a thunderstorm, and I don't think he wet it like he was supposed to, so it got real fluffy, and it's a different track from anywhere else. It's sand, and it dries up, and no, you didn't see the real Rachel. I mean, believe me, she went on hard there. She was very exhausted after the race. So I'll tell you what, might have took a lot out of her because she struggled more than anything.
Calvin, let's talk about the trip from the extreme outside post. That certainly dictated to some degree how you were going to ride her. Talk about the break and the run into the first turn, if you would, please.
Well, we had, me and Steve had talked about it, and, but what went on, when we got in the gates, I was going to let him start braking, lay about third, going into the turn, or, go ahead and clear him and try to get over. But the one horse flipped, and we wind up being in there about 60 seconds, whatever, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. And she kind of got, kind of lost focus. The crowd, I was so close to the fence, and the crowd was hollering, and stuff. And when she left there, she stumbled a little bit. And then I had to kind of, gear her up a little bit because I was going to get hung in line 10 wide, But like I said, I didn't go that fast there, so I was very comfortable. But when we headed down the backside, when I had done keyed her up a little bit, then she grabbed a hold to the bit, and which she don't usually does, but she was struggling. And at the same time, like I said, we went a little quick down the backside. But she, like I said, she's a race mare. She's the best, and, she showed it down the lane. When the horses come up to me, she just kept going, So, when you ride them kind of horses, you got to ride them with confidence, coming out the 13th hole. It was just the luck of the draw, but, I won't take my word back. I think she's the best horse in the country, and she proved it to overcome what she did. If anybody knows about the track, the way she really, really didn't handle the track.
Calvin, I presume heading down the backstretch, you could have gone on by Big Drama whenever you wanted to. What were your thoughts about, when to go, when to push the button on her?
Well, I've ridden there in the past, so, I could have went by him, but we were going pretty good already. We went like the half, I guess, 46 and change, And then when I got away from him, she pricked her ears back up like she usually. But at the same time, she was still struggling, so I had to kind of keep the bitting them out. And I really didn't push the button until about the quarter pole. Then, I thought it was time to go and get away from them and see, if we can just go ahead from there and hang on like we did, in case something would come running. And, just to let her go on and do her thing, because she likes to run. When she wants to go, you got to let her go, and that's what we did. And we hung on, like I say, sir, she was so exhausted because she fought the track so bad. It was unbelievable. You wouldn't imagine.
Calvin, with that struggling that she did, at any point during the final quarter mile, did you think you were in trouble?
No, sir. I think this filly, when you're going to look her in the eye, she will belly down and give you some more. I've been on her before, and, I know how good she is. I think she would have just, rebroke again, like we were galloping out, and Mike come to, shake my hand, hit me on the hand, and she took off again, when she kind of got her feet back under her. So I'm not, no, sir, I wouldn't never really concerned, no.
Calvin, you said she was pretty much exhausted after the race, struggling with the racing
Right.
surface as much as she did. Any word, and we are, of course, taping on a Friday, any word from Steve Asmussen as of yet to you or your agent, Jerry Hissam, as to her participation in the Belmont?
No, sir, not yet. No, they might let me know something Monday, but now I haven't, talked to Steve and everything. She come back good and everything, but, they really don't know yet, and Mr. Jackson. But I think he'll let me know Monday or Tuesday what, when we work her back and see what happens, and we're going to go from there.
And Calvin, you obviously rode Mind That Bird to a
Right.
memorable victory in this year's Kentucky Derby. What is your situation with trainer Chip Woolley and the possibility of getting back on Mind That Bird for the Belmont Stakes?
Oh, I'll be back on him. If my filly doesn't run, I'll be back on him. We didn't talk to him, and we got a backup rider. I think Gary Gomez or somebody else. I think, he's got two backup riders in case the filly decides to run, So, I get on the colt and work him and everything. Same thing we did before, but, and I got to thank him for that, and everything for, waiting for me. But, me and the colt get along real good, and he knows that, so he's given, like he told me, he said, Calvin, don't worry about nothing. I'm going to sit and wait until the last minute if I have to, and I got to give him a lot of respect for that because, he could put anybody he wants on the colt right now, especially with, riders like Gary Gomez. They're not riding the race, and, they got a bunch of good riders right now not riding the race, but I got to, like I said, I got to give him a lot of credit to sit and wait for me, because but he knows I like the colt, and, I fit the colt good. And the colt run a big race last time, and he knows, going into the next race, going a mile and a half, you're going to have to ride him the right way to get there, I think. And really and truly, if Rachel's not in there, I think he can win it.
Well, Calvin, that was obviously a very impressive victory by Mind That Bird, albeit surprising. It was very impressive in winning the Derby. So
but it wasn't no fluke, though. I'll tell you what. When he come back and run that second in the Preakness, I'm happy he did because it wasn't a fluke. It's not that he just run a big race that day in the Derby, and I think people realize that.
Calvin, how difficult a decision was it for you and for your agent, Jerry Hissam, to choose Rachel over the Kentucky Derby winner to ride in the Preakness?
Well, it wasn't, we had talked to Chip and them before the race, before I win the Derby and everything, and they knew up front going in, no matter what, if ever we hook, I'd ride the filly. She's my dream horse. I mean, I think she's the best horse in the country right now. And, they knew going in, so they didn't have no questions asked. And, the colt got lucky and win. And, like I said, they sat till the last minute last time to wait to see what, Mr. Steve would do and Mr. Jackson. So, I got to give him a lot of confidence to do that for me. But, like he says, I fit him so good, he'll wait, until the last minute if he has to. And like I say, I really appreciate that because I like the colt. I think he can win the Belmont, to tell you the truth.
Calvin, you made an unprecedented decision to take off the Kentucky Derby winner to ride another horse in the Preakness. Did that cause added pressure to you? Honestly, were there some sleepless nights leading up to the Preakness?
No, sir, no. I thought my filly was the best filly, I've never been on one like her, and I had no doubt, I knew where I was going, and, Chip and them knew that, right after the races, when Mr. Jackson bought her, I was kind of upset because I didn't think I'd get the rider back. And so I went the next morning, went after the day they bought it, and Mr. Jackson and his wife were there to pick her up. And, I kind of cried a bit. My tears were coming out of my eyes, walking away from the barn. And, his wife told me, she said, don't worry, it's all right. And Mr. Jackson said, she's yours, for her 3-year-old campaign, she's yours, and don't worry about nothing. And I said, so I got to give him a lot of credit, and I appreciate it. And then, like I said, I think she's just the greatest horse in the country right now. She's an unbelievable horse.
So she was able to beat the boys, first filly in 85 years to beat the boys and win the
Right.
Preakness when she wasn't at her best. You can guarantee our audience, Calvin, that we did not see the best of Rachel last Saturday, that
No,
later in the
I-
year, if she faces the boys again and brings her A game, she'll do a number on them?
Yes, sir.
Calvin, 2 Kentucky Derbies and a Preakness now, and the opportunity, hopefully, to win your own personal Triple Crown this year.
Right.
Calvin, this is the kind of filly who can really take you places, and one of those places might actually be racing's Hall of Fame. Have you ever thought about the possibility of getting in the Hall of Fame?
No, not really, but a lot of people told me that I ought to be, because I'm good for the Hendricks, right now, and people love me right now, and like I say, she's an unbelievable horse. I mean, Mr. Jackson put up the money to buy her, and he knew what he was looking at. I can tell you that. And if we get there, we get there. If we don't, we don't. Like I said, but a lot of people I told, said that I need to be in the World of Fame, and it'd be a big accomplishment in my life. But I'm just looking to win the Belmont. Next trip. Any horse I ride, I think I got a hell of a shot to win.
Calvin, you've been riding a lot of years. Have you ever ridden any better than you're riding right now?
No, I can't say I've ridden any better, but I haven't ridden the kind of horses I am riding right now. I got to give a lot of credit to Mr. Carl to give me the opportunity to ride Street Sense, to put me on the map and show the people that I could ride a good horse. And, I think that's all you need is a good horse, a good combination, and I got to give a lot of credit to Mr. Carl, because there was never no pressure. I mean, I rode Street Sense all his starts, and like he told me, win, lose, or draw, he's going to be your horse. He said, I want to win 2 more races in my career. He said, I want to win the Derby and the race at Saratoga, the Travers, and he said, and the rest of them is left up to you. He said, if we win, good. If we don't, we don't. But he said, these are the 2 races I want to win. I said, all right, Mr. Carr. And that was after we win the Breeders' Cup. So I tell you what, he did a good job with Street Sense, and he gave me a lot of courage to ride him. I was never under pressure to ride that horse.
And Mr. Hal did a pretty good job with Rachel, didn't he?
He did a hell of a job. Matter of fact, he run, you got to give him as much credit as Steve in the last race, because Steve only had about, 6-7 days, so you got to give the whole crew, they had it ready to run, for the Preakness. He did a hell of a job.
I'm guessing it's probably an awful lot of fun to be Calvin Borel right about now.
Yeah, it is, sir. I tell you what, it's a dream, everybody's dream, but it's just coming true, and we put a lot of hard work into it, me and my agent, and my family behind me, my fiance, and so it all works out. Believe me, if you like I say, kids nowadays, if you have a dream and a guidance on the way, somebody can help you get there, you'll get there.
Calvin, congratulations. Great job in winning the Derby. Great job in capturing the Preakness. All the best in a couple of weeks in the Belmont Stakes, and thank you so very much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch.
I appreciate it. God bless you.
Calvin Borel, ladies and gentlemen, the regular rider of Rachel Alexandra. He is 18 plus years of doing interviews, he's got to be the most down-to-earth interview. He's just, that's what he is. He's just honest, and he is America's rider right now.
He sure is.